All right. Cory.
Yeah.
My friend, what is Grid?
Welcome, everybody. Well, this is Grid, right? Grid is a national investor network that we like to bring here to a hyper-local level through events just like this. We've got 30-plus communities all across the U.S., 30,000-plus members of this community. This is a place for us to all come together to learn, to grow. We like to say we're not here to be gurus, to just pontificate on high. We're just here to be real people doing real deals in real time, sharing our experiences with you, trusting you're going to share your experiences with everybody here in the room so we can all learn and grow together. Sound good?
Yes.
Sweet.
I have a special announcement that we need to take care of right at the top here. Maybe we don't. Maybe it's not in here. Oh, no. Well, we don't need a slide for this. Very special day today. This is Cory's 39th birthday. So you're gonna blow out some non-lit candles.
Okay.
Because that's how we do things.
Thank you. Oh, right. Happy birthday, dude. No way. All right.
It takes 10 of us to run this smoothly. All right. So yes, Cory, what are you grateful for today on your 39th birthday, man? What's going on in your world?
Man, thank you for that. I would say I'm grateful for the perspective I have now at 39. It feels one of those things where as an adolescent, I really did not fathom I would even make it to here. So this is just pretty cool in and of itself. I'm grateful to have the perspective that I do, to be able to at least pass some of my own wisdom on to other people and still get young enough to have a lot of time and opportunity ahead of me. And I'm really grateful for like this community. That's why I wanted to come out tonight, right? Is because this for me is super impactful, super important in my life. And so I'm just super grateful for each and every one of you for continuing to pour into this community and going on this journey together.
I think we're good with the birthday. We don't have to hit all of them. Like it's, we got a production. All right. If you wouldn't mind, stand up real fast. Let's sing Cory happy birthday. All right. We's going to lead us. All right. Who's got a singing voice? You want me singing on this? To you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cory.
Thank you.
Cory might act like he's shy and embarrassed, but you don't wear these kicks if you don't like attention. Woo!
It was a good birthday present for sure.
My boy is stepping. We got these for him. We coming through with the best birthday present of 2026 so far. I'm impressed. Nobody. Yeah, I love it. Fantastic. Cory, real fast for the new people. Who are you? Tell me the 20-second investor story.
Totally. So my name's Cory King. I serve as a managing partner for the Cause of Knoxville real estate sales team. Been in business now for 8 years. Prior to that, I spent a little over a decade in restaurants and hospitality, going on the full journey from dishwasher all the way to owner-operator. And along the way, bought my first house, started house hacking, got into flipping lots at an early age, which is what ended up bringing me up this way. And been in the business now for about 8 years, which has been really exciting and just shows like this, the path that you can just go like bit by bit, just don't stop, keep progressing. It's been cool. It's been a really cool ride.
I love it. I just went live. Say hi to Facebook, everyone. If you're not here, you are missing out. We are streaming this on YouTube. My name is Justin Myers. I'm the best MC in the country, super connector, and I got started in real estate in 2005. I was 23 because I couldn't pass any background checks. That's what happens when you do dumb shit on Halloween and you get felony arrest, guys. So you get into sales because they will let you get a mortgage brokerage license. I once failed a personality test at a department store. That's a true story. I don't know what that says about me, but I did not get the job. So I got into real estate. I have sat on a lot of seats on the bus. I run this with Cory. I am an investor. And most importantly, what I think I do is I have had the privilege of working with Grid, of going around the country, of identifying new communities around the country. We are rolling out a ton of stuff. You're part of a national community. You know, I've been told we run the best community in the country in terms of the culture we have here, in terms of the room that we have here. So I want to thank each and every single one of you. It's going to be a zoo next month, but truly this is the coolest thing that I ever get to do. I got into real estate like literally because I was like 29, going through a divorce, was like, man, cut off all my hair, took my tongue ring out. I was moving back here. I was like, I need a job. And these folks are not going to give me a job if I look like myself. And I was like, real estate my job does not have to fulfill me. I just need a job. And what I ironically do is I found something where I get to do deeply fulfilling things all the time, have an impact on my community, provide housing, and the same thing too. Like in this room, I see a lot of people that are investors and are certainly not what I think of as investors, right? They're investing in people, they're investing in their communities, right? We really do believe relationships transform lives. And so, yeah, that's what I get to do is I get to travel around the country, making friends. So if you need somebody anywhere in the country, there is a good chance that I realistically know someone right there, or I'm 1 degree away from somebody with a personal relationship. That's been my privilege over the last 5 years of getting involved in leadership in some of these organizations. So we are really excited to have you all here tonight. A couple things, Cory, boom, some new stuff. Check this thing out. This is our map. We say we're coast to coast. We're opening 5 new locations. There is a lot of empty space. So any of you Californians, if you know some people I should talk to back home, hook me up because I want to expand out there. All right. Who's got a win? We just need one really amazing win. No pressure. No pressure. You're going to carry the whole room. Who's got a win in the last month? Yeah. Christian. What's okay? Christian's pointing at someone else. He's got an assist win. Lance, you got a win? Come on down. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Come on, Lance.
Come on, Lance. Really? Me? Just yes. Get over here.
Come on, dude.
He's fine. All right. We're making a tan man blush. Oh, I believe in you. What's your win, Lance?
I listed a house, and the first person that saw it bought it, and it was only listed for about 3 hours. And that's very unusual in this market, and I'm very aware of that. So,
congrats, Lance. That's awesome, dude.
Let's go, Lance. I love it. What a fantastic. Anybody have somebody help them in the room? Yeah, Duke, what do you got?
I already told you about it.
Okay.
$305,670 sale, and it was a fixer-upper, and did have to go up again. It was a bunch of people at the same time got it. All the rest of them had to get loans. My guy had cash.
I love it.
And also,
congrats, dude.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm almost twice as old as you are today.
Good. Hey, dude, happy birthday to you as well. That's awesome.
Is your birthday today? Yeah. Happy birthday, Duke. Happy birthday, Duke. 76. Duke started selling real estate when he was 24 years old. I just made that up, but it might be close.
21, yeah.
Duke knows everybody. Yes. All right. Fantastic. Oh, last thing. What do we want to accomplish? Yeah. Real simple. If you're brand new in the room, congratulations. We just want you here. Stay, learn, make some friendships. Like the hardest thing to do is to make a big change. Investing is kind of a radical change for how we're raised in this country, right? We're raised to be employees and do the right thing and get a good job and right. And so I need a cohort of people around me that are doing the same thing. Other entrepreneurs. If I don't have that, it's very hard because the rest of my friends are like, why are you doing that? Why would you take the risk? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why aren't you? They're living in a different paradigm. So stay here. If you're experienced and you've done this a ton, we're glad you're in the room. We want to do deals with you. That's why we do this. We want to meet you. We want to partner. We want to pick your brain. So connect with us. All right. A couple of different things coming up here. We have, I must have changed the wrong one. Okay. I was editing the wrong slideshow here. So we've got Grid Smokies launching on May 19th. Where's Vern at? Vern, tell us. You got to come up here.
Come on, dude.
Quick, fast. Daniel Bell, you're on deck too. So is Dalton. Vern, what's Grid Smokies, man? Well, first of all, does everyone know Vern? Vern, tell us a little bit about yourself real fast.
Okay, so my name is Vernon Cory.
Nathan, Gort.
They call me Papaw. I don't have grandkids. I wonder why they call me Papaw.
I think technically we call you Peepaw.
Peepaw.
Just to be.
But anyway, my name is Vernon Corum. I am the founder of Staycating.com. We have built a 360-degree hospitality brand that includes selling and buying real estate, managing. Yeah, where's Batman at?
Batman, you're the bat signal's up.
So basically what I've been doing is living this from the bottom up. I've cleaned over 10,000 properties, cleaned over probably 20, 30,000 toilets. I got a new book coming out, and I'm so excited about this. Last year, around this time, Justin and I sat down and said, let's have a plan for the Smokies. And today, where's Megan? Is Megan still here? There's a conversation that started about grid in one of these back rooms over here. And Megan said, Vernon, be authentic and get on social media, and I promise you it'll build your business. She said, meet these two guys, and I promise you it'll change your world. Here I stand. This is what Grid does right here. Tell them a little bit about Smokies.
So we're gonna launch Grid Smokies, and why is that important? One, it's the Smokies are the biggest Airbnb market in the country. And Vernon, how many years have you been doing property management, Vernon?
5 officially on
Yep.
this level, but I've been around the business for over 30 years.
Yeah, because you've been an agent how many years?
Over 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. So Vernon really knows this nuts and bolts. And so Great Smoky's going to be a little different. It's a room full of vendors, small business owners, entrepreneurs. So if you want to come meet the people that are actually on the ground operating, the developers, the builders, et cetera, let us know. It's a limited space there. We're doing it at the Pines. Anybody been to the Pines in downtown Sevierville? It is a beautiful, beautiful venue. So you have to come out and check this thing out. It's going to shock you. Downtown Sevierville's got, Cooper's been there, has some really cool stuff. Anybody been to Gray's over there? Oh, y'all are missing out.
Yeah.
Some of the best burgers in East Tennessee. Really, really sick. And again, in downtown Sevierville, like shockingly good. We're going to do this, and then we're going to host webinars. If anyone hasn't been to one of Nathan and Vernon's webinars, we're going to do a super deep dive into analyzing properties, underwriting, one-on-one, so you can ask questions, a little interactive. We'll do those on Thursdays, and then on Tuesdays, we're going to do some content kind of focused on that. So this first one is going to be how to find, fund, fix, and host your way to freedom. We're not going to flip out there. That's not what I would be doing. I'd be holding on to those things and hosting them. And we've got Batman on our side, Nathan Gort.
Sup.
So we are really excited. If you don't know, Nathan is I think the most prolific, from my perspective, DSCR lender in the biggest Airbnb market in the country. I've seen some other stats. They're not single lenders doing all that business. So he's my secret weapon for knowing what's going on in the Smokies, because I think Nathan's got more insight into that than perhaps anybody else. No pressure.
I do more than DSCR, but yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
But no, thank you.
He does
for
more
that
than
intro.
DSCR,
Yeah.
but we're going to be doing STRs. You're probably going to buy a DSCR. But yes, Nathan does everything.
Probably not, actually.
Really?
Learn about the new products that are better than DSCR.
Okay. All right. So if you want to see this fun banter on stage, May 19th.
When Justin says I'm going too deep,
Yes.
this is
Yes.
keep it
Rating it
101.
in.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Excellent. So yeah, May 19th.
We're going to get better headshots, by the way. Those are like old pictures.
That's AI for me.
Oh, that is. Look at you.
Yeah.
All right. Boys, thank you
I got
so
told
much.
I was looking skinny today. Thank you, Travis.
Yes. First thing Nathan says
job,
to
buddy.
Travis is, "You're looking extra. Did you get shorter today?" Gotta love it.
Yeah, truly.
All right. Did someone leave with the mic? There's a third one.
There's actually.
Okay. I was like, did we lose a sec? All right. Fantastic. Okay. And then we've got our 5th year anniversary. We know all this. We've got if you're a vendor, by the way, we have sponsor tables available. Anybody sponsor last year? Man, yes, you did. I can see you. I'm going to start calling folks out. If you did it, we gave away a big prize. And, if you come there, here's what's going to happen. We're going to have like 20, 30 vendors there. You can go around, talk to all of them, get filled up. You're going to have your vendor list of everyone you would possibly need. Everyone that is a vendor there is somebody that we would work with. We're not going to let any randos sponsor that we haven't had an experience with. Okay? And secondly, we're going to have raise some money for charity. It'll be fantastic. But if you are a vendor and you want to meet a ton of our people in our community, this is your best chance. We wanted to give you a spotlight because I know you can't sponsor Grid all the time, but we wanted to do something for you. We can get in front of the entire community. Yeah. No, it's fine. I wasn't clicking on it. It's okay. I was just...
Heard.
Yes. Yeah. Just wave my hand around, but thank you. All right. GridCon. What's GridCon, Cory?
Yeah. GridCon, right? So where we said this is a national organization that we bring together through hyper-local events. Now is your opportunity to go to the mothership. 2-day mastermind workshops there in Northern Virginia, right outside of DC in Tyson's Corner. Or we have a 1-day event in Tyson's Corner. The next day we're going out to a really nice vineyard for a great mastermind event as well. This is your opportunity to really come in, plug in at the absolute highest level. The speaker lineup for this looks insane.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty ridiculous. Anybody come here today because they need capital for a deal? Is that why we're in a creative financing meetup? Does anybody not want to interact with anyone else at our networking meeting? Okay. Got it. No hands are getting raised. It's fine. I will talk to you. I can see all of you. Do you need some capital, Rich? Fantastic. Did you know, and this is an interesting commentary on the state of the country, that 4 of the top 10 richest zip codes in the country are right outside DC? Yeah. There is a ton of money in this area. So I've gone up there when I go to events. It is pretty shocking. If you're looking for capital, there is an absurd amount of capital up there. Reston is right there, about 15 minutes from Dulles. So Tyson's is the same. It's about 15 minutes from Reston. So Reston is where Grid got started 17 years ago. So GridCon, if you plan on coming, Cindy Hewitt's coming. Where you at, Cindy? If you want to, let's go. Hit us up. I got a discount code for you, but I would definitely put that on your agenda. If you're interested in investing, we're going to talk about the 7 levels. You're going to leave with an entire roadmap of everything you need to invest, including contracts, frameworks. This is what we charge $24,000 a year now to coach for. Is we're going to cover this in a single day. Highly recommend it. Cool. And if you're an agent in the room, you should be on Tactical Tuesday. We've got it's really weird looking at your face like that. We've got a really incredible lineup of speakers. If you go to gridtacticaltuesday.com, it is really good. If you are not an agent, but you want to build your cash machine, I highly recommend you go look at the marketing ones. We had someone on Tuesday talking about Pinterest. Blew my mind, right? Pinterest is a search engine. It's not a social media platform. It is durable. It is evergreen. Unlike these other platforms, it is designed to take you off the site so it doesn't penalize you, right? Pretty fantastic. If you look at where search is going, like search is more important, blogs are more important. We have what's called GEO, which is like agentic AI, which is like, how do I optimize my search patterns for AI? Go watch that one. It'll be up like on Tuesday. It'll blow your mind. There's some really great ones about YouTube on there as well. Definitely recommend it out. And thank you to our sponsors. Daniel, you got a word for us? What's going on in the world of property management? Excellent. Thank you, Daniel. That's Daniel with Stonebrook. Flint's here. You don't normally get Flint. Chris comes sometimes. Flint, jump on up here really fast.
Hello, everyone.
Flint's got some money to lend, right? And we were just having this conversation. I'm going to see if I can do a decent intro for you. Let's see if I can nail it, Flint. All right? We talked about this last time. Like, what are the 2 things that are really important in a private lender? I would say speed, convenience, predictability. Like, do I know what the process is going to be like? Can I get through the underwriting? Does it work? And if I go find that, do they actually have capital to fund my deal? Because you usually get boutique level of service. And what I'd say with the guys that approach, because they're lending their own money to the family office for Clayton, you get a boutique level of service with an enterprise level of capital backing them up.
I couldn't have said any better.
Yes. Get with Flint. Flint, anything you want to share with us that you're seeing in the world of private lending?
Well, it's certainly more competitive than it's ever been, which I think is a good thing for all of you because, like it or not, we're having to be more aggressive. So lenders are offering more leverage. Rates are better. We'll be flexible at times with what we're charging on fees. We're not pressing as much as some of our competitors are. We're committed not to doing that, but we are doing 90% financing and in some cases 100% financing now, which we had not done previously. Love to talk to any one of you. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time flipper. We'll work with first-time flippers, and we work with some prolific flippers as well. I think, the nice thing about working with us is just we are local. We lend throughout the Southeast, but our biggest markets are Tennessee and North Carolina still, and we love the state of Tennessee and doing business here. So really appreciate an opportunity to talk to any of you. ApproachLending.com. It's real easy to find us. My cell phone number is there on the website. I will answer most of the time, and if not, I'll call you back.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you. And last but not least, Morgan, our host, Foundation Mortgage. Morgan, has anybody been to Investing 101 with Trav? Yes, right? I think it's the best class that we teach. And Morgan is freed up his Saturday, so he's there in the room with us. If you don't own a house yet, you need to talk to Morgan. I know you're here for creative financing, and it's cool, and you should buy stuff with owner financing. Buy a primary residence. Buy a primary residence. Like, you're not going to be sad you bought one. The market's going to keep doing this, guys. Don't wait. Words for us. What's going on in the mortgage world?
Do have a new product coming out next month. So I do all sorts of stuff, right? There's people that specialize. I am not a specialist. I basically do anything and everything. But next month, I should have a line of credit that can go onto a rental that will only qualify. The only qualification required is the rental income, and it can go on top of a mortgage you've already got.
Let's go, baby. 08's coming back. The casino's
Indeed.
open. Leverage, leverage, leverage. There's no
Chips,
AI
please.
bubble. Yeah, leverage. No.
It should be cool with a very trusted partner of mine. This partner already does a line of credit that'll be the only mortgage on the place, but now they're going to do the second mortgage on it as well with just rental income.
Yep.
That's it.
I love it. No, and I joke, but the reason these products exist is like for sophisticated investors like yourself, right? The hedge for that, if you're not sure, like how you not get yourself burned with leverage, is come to Investing 101. If you can't clearly articulate to me what your philosophy is around how many months of personal reserves you need, business reserves, and investing reserves, I got a question. Have we actually earned the right to invest? And so if you come in there, we're going to answer that question for you. It is this Saturday, May 9th. And we're also going to do there is give you a roadmap of what's your investing strategy. Like, what are you going towards? People have different strategies. If you're in here and you're 52 and you're in here and you're 27, radically different, right? Maybe all you need to do is store your money in an IRA and just go get a job, go to Axel Logistics, and like time is on your side, dude. You do not need to be... If we're a little later in life, coming out of divorce or something, I've been divorced, we may need to do a more aggressive strategy to hit our goals. So we're giving you great information. If you don't have a strategy, come to Investing 101. We're going to give you a roadmap so you can have an individualized strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Cool.
Right?
All right. That's stuff. I think Cory, hit this and let's go talk.
Yeah,
Let's
for
get
sure.
Shane up
Yeah.
here.
So we try to make this easy for everybody. This is still like a networking event at its core, right? So we try to make it visually appealing for everybody here in a way. Oh,
yep.
Never mind. There we go. Perfect thing. So we try to make it really visually appealing for people to really know, hey, if you come into a place like this and you're, say, looking for things like capital, for example, right, green would be your person. So green name tags. If you're here looking for money, green name tags. Actually, lenders in the room. Let's just get a couple of hands up. If you're lending capital, mortgage broker, fantastic. Take a look around. Awesome. All right, cool. If you've got deals to share, you typically a wholesaler, bird dog, referral partner, sharing deals, you're wearing yellow. Hands in the room. Christian, I'm going to call you out because I know you're wearing yellow for sure. All right, cool. All right, perfect. All right. Red, this can be agents, service providers, contractors.
All my vendors,
right?
all my
vendors,
contractors.
hands up.
If you started a new mechanical company in the last couple months, raise your hand.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
So this becomes your right. This
Where's
is
my boy
your
Devin at?
easy visual representation for who to connect with, how you can be purposeful at your networking events.
Yep. Fantastic. Okay. You want to do this one?
You got it.
Don't sue me, bro.
Don't sue me, bro.
Trust but verify. Shane's going to drop a ton of amazing information. You're going to get really excited. We're talking about creative strategies and like run it by other people. Don't just use LegalZoom. Actually, now it's ChatGPT. Maybe don't just use ChatGPT. Like lean on some experts. That's the short version there. All right, cool. We're going to set the stage here and then we're going to get Shane up here. Anybody excited? Anybody check out Shane's bio? Right? I am incredibly stoked to get Shane up here. Cory, let's talk about the three categories of creative financing.
Totally. Yep.
What are my three?
Yep. So you've got owner financing, subject to, okay, like taking over like somebody's note, or lease options. How to effectively go sell a home with kind of a lease in place or using a lease as my vehicle to sell a property.
Yep. And these are all hold strategies. Novations, other things like that are not necessarily hold strategies. Those are strategies you see more like in wholesaling or flips.
Right.
Right? Cool. All right. So I guess we set the stage.
Totally.
We'll do it with Shane up here. Shane, come on down. All right. Ooh. Greatest film before a live studio audience. Shane,
Thank you,
appreciate you. This is you right there. All right.
Am I sitting here?
You're gonna sit right there. No, you're the star. You're right in the middle for us.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. I love this. This is y'all missed this. We did an event at EXP, and Cory had to introduce somebody, so I told him to ask ChatGPT how Shannon Sharp would do it. I'll post it in the Grid Facebook group. It's great, dude. It's great. On stage, he delivered it normal, but he delivered it like Shannon Sharp when he sent me the message at like 11:30 at night. It's fantastic. So Shane is a visionary entrepreneur, real estate investor, and leader in personal development as a CEO and founder of So Capital Group, So Capital Management. He's built a diverse real estate portfolio spanning more than 400 doors. Residential properties, commercial spaces, and land investments. With a relentless drive for success and a strategic mindset, Shane has transformed opportunities into long-term wealth. This is a good bio, Shane. His expertise in real estate, business growth, and financial strategy continues to empower investors and entrepreneurs looking to scale their success. What I want to share with you is we got the opportunity to do a pre-interview for Shane. He was one of the most genuine and humble guys we've had the opportunity to talk to in the last 5 years, right?
Hey, well, it's an honor to be here. Where'd you get the bio?
That's your team. That's Tim right there.
Oh, Timson. Okay. Well, hey, you guys, I just want to say I know how hard it is to build a community. Give both Justin and Cory a big round of applause for putting this together. Phenomenal. Great people, too.
Thank you so much. So there's a couple questions we had, and I sent them. Do you have your phone, Cory?
I do.
I sent you 3. That first question, I think, is a really good one to lead off because we got to interview Shane, and we're going to start at the very beginning. Because we put everyone on stage once they've got to the end, and you sit there and you go, great, right? If I had what he had, I would do what he does, and I would be who he is. And we know the reason we talk about this over and over again is be, do, have, right? I've got to go be that person. I've got to have a vision for my future. I've got to go do the activities, and then I get the results. And so I always like to go back to the beginning because nobody started, as a success. And I loved your story. It was you were so open with us. So Cory, what's your first question?
Yeah, man. So really, we'd love to hear. Just walk us back through that story, that first flip, that kind of chance lunch encounter that launched all of this.
Okay. Well, I guess I can tell how I got into real estate and then go
Sure.
through that.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I was basically a karate teacher. And when I was 25 years old, this guy bought the pizza place next to me. I could tell he had a lot of money. He had slick back hair, and him and his wife had matching Cadillacs. And we're all from the South. To me, that means he had a lot of money. And I said, "Sir, what do you do for a living?" And he said, "Young man, you need to take me to lunch." And I took him to lunch, and he opened up my mind to real estate. He talked about single family and multifamily, and he talked about creative financing a little bit, but he mainly talked about he just talked about the importance of good debt and all of that. And it planted a seed from that moment. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't just for that lunch. And then he ghosted me after that. He never talked to me again. And in 5 years, I finally got my first deal. Now, it didn't mean that I didn't try because I got 33 properties under agents with using brokers. I got them under contract, and I'd always cancel them during due diligence. And I'm from a small, I'm going to lean from my back feels, okay. I'm from a small town, so every single agent really hated my guts at that moment, basically. And what happened, though, is a young boy that was 20 years old, he got his agent, he became an agent, and he was the only person that would show me houses. So I found a property, got it under contract, and then during due diligence, right before it ended, I did what I always did. I called him and said, "Hey, I'm going to cancel." And he lied to me. And he said, "Shane, with this specific type of house that you just put under contract, they're going to sue you if you try and cancel." And he straight up lied to me. And I'm glad that he did, because what it did is it changed me from I can't do it to how can I get it done, because it put me in panic mode. And now I didn't use much creative financing on this one specific. I was just trying to get it across the finish line. I called a buddy from high school and I said, "Hey man, I'm going to get sued if I don't buy this home, but it is a good deal." And this is 2017 and in Rome, Georgia. So it's a very small town. I think they was asking $90,000. I lowballed $45,000. They accepted. So I said, "Hey, look, I don't have the money. Do you have $45,000?" He said, "Yeah, I've got it." So he bought it. Me and him did a JV, and I maxed out my credit cards to do all the repairs and maintenance. I have the contractor who bailed on me. It took me 8 months to do the whole thing and get it sold, so I was terrified the entire time. And it's not a very sexy origin story, by the way, of any case. But we ended up selling it and making about $60,000 together. So I made $30,000, he made 30, and it kind of helped me get over the fear.
Yeah, I think what I hear out of that though, is actually you were caught in the trap that so many get into, right? You put 33 properties like under contract before actually getting that first one across the finish line.
Yes, sir.
And tells me you spent a lot of time going through what many have as like analysis paralysis,
I was the worst.
right? We've all met folks that get in that spot where they think they have to learn everything about it. They've got to understand every play, every out before actually taking action. And you spent 5 years, you said, like kind of in that mix, just thinking it all through before.
Yeah, 5 years. And honestly, like what it is in the town that I was at in Rome, Georgia, is a very small town. I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have any people that were doing real estate during that time. And everyone that did talk about real estate always talked about 2008, 2010, and how you're going to lose your money. It's very volatile. And it just made me afraid. So I didn't have anyone to guide me. I'd never gotten a loan. I was a karate teacher, so I didn't know how to do it. But I overanalyzed everything. I think the fear really got me. I think that was the biggest holdback for sure.
Right. But I would imagine with your years of being a karate teacher, you also understood the just the acts of like patience, consistency, like showing up. I would imagine that's helped you throughout your career to this point thus far. Would you agree?
Yes, sir. And then after I got the first deal, what it did is it helped me have more of a blind confidence. Once I got past the first one, instead of having I can't do it attitude, I'm going to use the I can do it attitude. So that's really
Sure.
helped me with.
Yeah. And picking up partners along the way. We talk a lot about like who, not how. And then oftentimes it's not a matter of like, how do I figure this out, but more or less who can help me with this? Who can I partner with? A little bit of like, who do I have to become on this in order to figure this out? But it's a very powerful thing. Like once you have that unlock.
Yes, sir. For sure.
Right.
So how did you get? So you got the real estate bug. You got tricked by an agent. So I guess if we learn, one lesson here, it's lie to your clients. That's what we want you.
Yeah. But that is wrong, right? He could get in trouble.
No,
Okay.
do not do that. If you're a real estate agent, the most valuable asset that you will ever have is your license. No deal is worth your license. My license is worth literally millions to me in terms of my income potential. Right. Also, there's the potential liability. So no, don't do that.
And he is a good friend of mine, by the way. And what it is I think he saw me and thought I had more money because I owned a karate school. And I think he saw double dip opportunities where he could sell me the property and then he would be able to sell it for me. And I think he just saw his commission going out the door. So I get it. And he's a good friend now and he wouldn't never do that again.
No, it's a funny story. And he got you. It's almost like your buddy at the bachelor party tricking you into showing up to the wedding. You're going to walk away. So I appreciate it. So that's how you got the real estate bug. You bought that first one. Walk us through it. How did you get into creative financing? Where did that start?
All right. So during the middle of this fix and flip, I bought this in January of 2017. And again, we didn't sell it till August. So 8 months later. And I think around May time, in the middle of all the stress, I had the thoughts, I'm going to lose my buddy's money. I'm going to be stuck in credit card debt. Everyone's telling me the whole thing again, 2008, 2010. I was just extremely stressed. And I found a YouTube video from this old guy that had horrible audio, had a tint of brown on the filter or something, had a horrible echo, and he talked about seller financing and talking directly with sellers. And you don't always have to go through an agent. At least when you begin doing seller financing or credit, you need to just try and go directly to seller and later on go to agents. And it clicked to me. I said, that makes a lot of sense. I can try and reach out to a seller and see if they'll take terms. I didn't know that was possible. So that's really what got me started. So what I did is in Rome, there's a small park there, and I went and sat down under this gazebo. And I looked at, I think it was Zillow or something, or Craigslist at that time. And I saw a house for sale, and I called the seller, and this lady answered, and she said, and I found out the information just having a conversation with her. And we do a lot of gatherings too, so what I tell everyone is I don't care who you're getting coached by. If you do 100 phone calls with 100 sellers, you'll learn more from that from any guru or anything online, in my opinion. And this was my moment. So when I talked to the lady, she said, my mother lived in this home. And she passed away, and me and my two sisters have inherited this home maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and we have a tenant in there paying $700 a month. And we don't like to deal with the day-to-day operations. I'll go through this one quickly, and then do you want me to talk about my first deal too, or? Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm just used to having a presentation. I'm not used to a podcast style. But anyway, when I went and met the seller,
I do have your slides, by the way.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know which one they put up, but yeah. But so I went to meet the lady. I met the tenant, and I had my first interaction with the seller. And in the end, she said no to seller financing. I did not get the deal. Okay, just to be quite honest. And I look back and see what I did do wrong. There's a few things I said incorrectly, but it's okay. The main thing that happened, though, is I found out that the rejection wasn't so bad. And when I left, I said, I can see if I keep doing this, someone will say yes. And that's the thing that I needed. So that was one more step of confidence that helped me. All right. So now I'll talk about my first deal and how it happened is, and I still kind of do this today, is I found another property for sale. I had a for sale by owner sign. I called the lady, and her name was Ruth. And I said, hey, I'm interested in your property. I'm an investor. I just done a few deals locally near you. I'm interested in the property. And she said, well, I have a tenant in there. They haven't been paying. They're getting, disposed or evicted out on Friday. So I said, okay, I'll come Saturday. So I came Saturday to meet with her. And when I pulled up to the property, the grass was about this high. She was outside flushed red. Just was really upset and stressed. And I got there and I spoke to her. I said, hey, Miss Ruth, nice to meet you. And she didn't even say hello. She just said, how could they do this to me? Okay. And I just said, forget the deal for a moment. I'm just going to calm this lady down and just talk to her. So I'm talking to her outside her house, and she's calming down. She's complaining, and I said, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. It's a shame that they did this for you. It's a beautiful home. I'm talking good about the home and everything." And as she started calming down, she said, "Let's go take a look inside." So we get there, and I can tell she hadn't been inside the house yet. But as soon as she gets the key and she finally opens the door, this smell just comes outside because this house is when you enter in is right in the kitchen. This smell came out because they had left the refrigerators open, garbage all over the floor, and now she's freaking out again. She's just like upset, and I would be too. So I'm going into calm down mode again. Well, the thing is one thing that I did learn about this, and I tell all my staff and students and all my friends is anytime that you go into a home and the seller is tense, that is not the time. They're never going to agree to anything. You need them to relax. So I got her to relax a little bit and start treating me as a guest and kind of, just talking to me like normal. And once she kind of calmed down, then I had my notepad. We walked through the home. I'm talking about it was garbage. It was garbage all over the place, holes in the walls and missing doorknobs. And we went through the whole home. When we got to the kitchen, now coincidentally enough, she was asking $95. And I said, Miss Ruth, if I take this and as this condition, what do you really want? She said, I'll do $85. I just said, thank you so much for being flexible. Then we go outside. Like I said, the grass is real high. We're walking around, horrible air conditioning unit. And on the back of the house, these people had taken garbage bags and thrown them on the roof. So on the front of the house, you couldn't see it. But when you go back on the back, there's like 30 to 50 bags of garbage on the roof. She's freaking out again, of course, right? Long story short, we go inside the house again, and I said two things. I said, before I go and talk to my boss and I go to bat for you, what do you really need to take on this? And no joke, this is what she says. She went from 95 to 85. She said, 45? She came all the way to $45,000. Okay? And I stepped outside, and I'm a Christian, so I went outside and I started praying. I'm worried because I know I'm going to offer seller financing to this lady, and I'd never done it before. So I went in and I said, Miss Ruth, great news. I've talked to him. I know we're going to get a deal, and I just want to help you out. I'm trying to make her feel good. And I said, but now I knew that I'm going to ask the seller financing question I had never asked. I said, but Miss Ruth, here's the thing. I don't believe that this property is in the condition that a lender would loan against the property. Basically, it doesn't meet HUD standards, right? And would you be willing to let me pay you monthly, and I'll fix everything that needs to be fixed to where the bank will give me the loan, and I'll cash you out later? And at first she was like, no, I can't do that. I don't know. And I said, well, here's the reason why. She came to the point where she said, look, if you pay me $10,000 down, I'll say, okay. And I said, well, here's the thing. I don't really want to pay double down payment. If I pay $10,000 down, put $30,000 in the property, then I've got to have it for many, many months where I can't have anyone in it. It's kind of an uphill battle. And I know why you want me to pay you a down payment. You want to see I have skin in the game. What if I, instead of, just giving you a down payment, I'll put it into the property in repairs. And in the end, she said, okay. So I got my first seller finance deal, and here were the terms for, I guess everyone's a nerdy real estate investor in here. That's why I love this stuff. But here were the terms. It was $45,000 was the purchase price, no money down, $1 earnest money. I had 30 days to close and 60 days from the day of closing to pay my first payment, and principal-only payments of $286 per month. My first contract. Now, whenever I went to have her say, hey, will you sign this contract, I could tell she was getting a little stressed. And the main thing that I learned at this point is at the top of my purchase and sell agreement, I put standard purchase and sell agreement. Because I don't know about you, but if I don't know much about any business and someone comes and just hands me a contract, I'm not going to sign it. But I said, here's a standard one. How about this, Ms. Ruth? Will you help me fill it out? So we filled it out together. I even let her write it out, all the terms and everything. And then she felt more comfortable signing it. So that's how I got my first one under contract and my first seller finance. Yeah.
That's great. Anybody have...
I was just commenting, like, one, I love that story. One, maybe takeaway I heard out of that, and this just comes from me, like kind of in the sales perspective, like I get a lot of folks on the phone as well. Like one of my favorite things I like to remind myself is when they get weird, you get warm. And I heard that like in there for you, right? As she's getting stressed or overwhelmed or tense, you take the time to just slow down. It's not about the deal right now. Just let me just get warm and help neutralize this, to help bring them down. Your energy, you're going to match the energy to it. You got to bring your energy into it to lower that down, which ultimately sounds like it calmed her down to the point where, hey, you can actually start to talk business. So I love, like, yeah, when they get weird, you get warm.
I love that. I'm going to steal that.
So we'll have some questions here in a second. So that's the first one. I got your presentation.
Oh,
so
okay.
we've got some. We could do this. We can have a chat here. What I would like to do, though, if you don't mind, is like, so that was an example of owner financing. Can you walk us through? I think. So, anybody have any questions about owner financing right now?
Does everyone know what seller financing is? I think it's pretty obvious. Okay, yeah.
Right. So the seller. One thing just to keep in mind, because I know some people might not know, and I didn't know this, is let's just talk about this from a legal perspective. You have a deed. A deed outlines like who owns the property, right? The transference of the property. That's why you have like title companies go back and they create like, that's what you're paying them for. Then you have a note, and a note outlines the terms for money, right? It says you're going to borrow this amount of money at this interest rate with these terms. Here's what happens if you default, et cetera. Here's your late penalty. That's your note. The mortgage is the legal instrument that attaches that note to a deed, right? Anybody could do a note. Me and Cory could do a note. Hey, man, you could do it one of your kids. I'm going to lend you some money. Here's the terms. We're going to have this on paper, so it's all set aside. You can do it for private financing. That's all a mortgage is. When a lender does it, it is not any different than if I did it.
That's right.
Like, it's the same exact process. There's a process I could go through, but I'm just creating a mortgage. So when I owner finance, I'm just creating a mortgage on an asset that I own.
Yes, sir. 100%.
Yeah. So that's owner financing. Walk us through this quadrant. You said there's 33 ways to buy a house. What are 4 ways to buy the same house?
Yeah. So basically, whenever we go and do our in-house presentation, I learned from that first time that I did that visit with that seller. Now, whenever we go, I have a whole process. It's hard to take everything that we're doing and putting it down in like an hour term. So, but basically, after we've walked through the home, we've got them to treat us as a guest. We've got them to calm down. I go to the dirtiest room in the house, whether that's where the cats and dogs were, or in this case, with that first house, I took her back to the kitchen. That's where I negotiate the price, right? And then whenever I sit down, I always sit down next to them when I'm showing them the offer, not across. and I do a little presentation about showing who we are. I never say the word investor, because if you call someone, be honest, us as real estate people, if we have someone say, I'm an investor, you instantly say, they're trying to steal the property away. Like, that's just how most of these sellers take it, specifically a homeowner or a smaller investor that has like 10, 20 homes. So basically, as I'm giving the presentation, I'm talking about here's us as a group. Here's our team. Here's what we do with the property. Sometimes we sell them. Sometimes we do corporate housing. So, like, I'm letting them know what we're doing, or we build a pathway to home ownership for families. And then I'm going to always show them these. Actually, I show them a quadrant very similar to this without the offers on there. I say, oh, and here is what our team's going to offer you. We're going to give you 4 different offers. One is a cash offer. That's going to be a little bit more of a discount. And I'm looking at them because there's no pricing on this. It's just saying, here's the 4 offers we're giving. I say, we're going to give you a cash offer, a little bit more of a discount. And I'm looking to see how they respond. So then I know if it's the price that's the main thing that they're really wanting, right? And then the second thing I say, we're going to also let you be part of our payment for equity program. That's our second offer. Basically, we pay you monthly payments until it's paid off or until we cash you out at a later date. I changed it, the payment for equity, to be quite honest, and I learned off YouTube, don't get me wrong, when I first started, but there are so many gurus that teach seller finance, owner finance, and it's kind of, I know we're wholesalers too in here, and we do that too, but like some wholesalers give the game a bad name. A lot of creative finance people give it a bad name. So I changed it. Instead of saying seller finance, we say payment for equity program. Looks like we're more of a professional group. And as you can see, some of the points I have there. The third thing I tell them, I say, we actually call this our reverse layaway program, by the way. But for this little quadrant here, we wanted to show lease option. We can lease the property with an option to buy later. It's 2 completely different documents. One's a lease to control the property. Then the option means we control, the we get the future appreciation. It's kind of like a call or a put. And then depending if they have a mortgage or there's something really specific there, then we give a 4th offer there. Now, while I'm showing them this quadrant, saying we're going to have cash, payment for equity, lease option, I'm seeing how they responded to the payment for equity, which is seller finance, and it lets me know if they're going to be more open to it or if they're going to be really bad against it. And the reason why I believe, and I'm nerdy to say this, but for all my friends, all we talk about is real estate. I'm sure you guys are the same, right? But I found out that the biggest problem for real estate investors is they usually stay in 1 or 2 things. They only stay in wholesaling forever, fix and flips forever, or they only know how to do cash and use hard money or a loan or just a little seller finance. But really, there's 33 different ways to buy a property. So that means we've had more tools in our tool belt, more chances to be able to make a deal happen. That doesn't mean we always get every deal, right? Just like any investor, but at least we have more shots. And instead of saying, here's the offer, yes or no, we get to say which one works best for you, A, B, C, or D, E, C. So that's kind of how we do it on the quadrant here.
I love that. People love menus.
Yeah, a little menu.
Yeah, people love a menu. Mm-hmm. Like they love to not just be pigeonholed into one particular choice. If I can choose between 3, maybe 4, we probably don't want to get too big because that can confuse some people who've been to the Cheesecake Factory, kind of what I'm talking about. You got massive menu to look over. But in this case, if you're able to bring, I love that reframe, by the way, that the layaway program I thought was genius in terms of like when we talk about like a lease option or the payment for equity reframe, as opposed to if I was going to go to a seller and say, hey, well, would you consider owner financing? Having it as a reframe there, like a payments for equity. I like that. I think it's a softer land.
The other question that we got from our buddy Jason McDaniel is, are you open to terms? And so go back and watch that one. We've interviewed Jason before, but that's another one. Hey, the cash offer, here's what I can offer you for cash, but I know it's not what you wanted. Are you open to terms? I may be able, if you're open to terms, I may be able to work that with you. It's just, but if I present it as something, most people don't know. And so just be careful with labels of like, I see it all the time as a realtor. People have preconceived notions that get in the way of their own goals. Because no one wants to. Being ignorant is deeply uncomfortable. People would rather be wrong than ignorant. In my experience,
Truly.
Yeah. Okay, so this is just a high level overview of seller financing. I know we've talked about this before. I'd love to focus on some strategies, Shane, and less about some of the tactics. So I think this is just the mechanics of it. If we've got questions on this, we've recorded this before. I think very good ones. If you go back and watch the YouTube channel of some of the how to, or how does a purchase and sale agreement work, or what's the agreement look like? What I would want to say is, so this is seller financing. Can we talk about this last one?
Seller financing.
The no limit for seller financing right here, the no limit to the amount of deals, and there's that you could do no money down.
Yes, sir. So basically, I mean, seller financing means you don't have to have any credit pull or anything like that. You don't have to have all these tax returns, any type of lender approval. It's just because the seller becomes the bank. And honestly, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory that you don't have to have any approval because the seller is going to become the bank for you. And they're protected, as you said, just like the bank is protected. And now here's one thing too that I like to tell some of the sellers is explaining it really softly. Because again, we say payment for equity program. When we explain it to them, we say, look, we're going to buy it, so we take in all the liability. I want them to see the benefits of us being able to, take title, basically. Then I always say this, I say, if a tree was to fall down and cut the property in half, you're going to be as loss payee on the insurance policy, you will be paid first. And I basically, there's a lot of things that we like to say to kind of make sure that they feel more comfortable. There's more flexible terms. Again, I got principal only on a lot of the deals that we've done. Also, and just one of the things that we say, we don't say, hey, we're going to pay you, we're going to buy the property for $400,000 and do it at no interest. We say, we're going to pay you $400,000, $1,250 a month until paid off. Like we've changed the verbiages a little bit to make sure it's real simple for them and that they understand. And that's actually a real deal. We bought it was $425,000. We paid $30,000 down and $1,250 a month principal only in Tennis Community. And then let's just say you don't have $30,000 to pay down. We also creatively dispo. I don't know if we have time to cover that today, but I'll just say a quick thing is you can then find people that can't get a loan. I know that we're here and we have a great mortgage broker that I met, Nick. A lot of the people that can't get the loan is either because they have student debt, medical bills, or they don't have enough job history, or maybe they're not educated, don't know how to get the non-QM loans or anything like that. So what we're doing is we're letting them be able to pay us an option fee. For example, we got $50,000 down, in which I paid $30,000 to the seller, so I make $20,000. We leased it for $2,700 a month, which we pay $1,250 principal only payments. And we added an additional $50,000 on the back end. So we got paid up front $20,000, we cash flow a significant good amount, and then they'll cash us out later after a year or two. And what we do is we teach them financial literacy and connect them with people that can, teach them about how to fix their credit, or connect them with a really good lender so they can cash me out later. So that's kind of how we do the dispo as well. Mm-hmm. So just because it said no money down doesn't mean the seller doesn't always get money down, by the way. We don't come out no money.
Anyone have any questions? Okay.
Channel.
Yeah, how are you finding these opportunities?
That's a great one. My favorite thing is exactly what you're doing now, is I meet older landlords that are usually 50, 60. That's not older. They're ready to start living their life. That's when my mom and them become the most motivated. And basically what I'm doing is I'm upgrading them from landlord to banker. Even on my first deal was a tired landlord in an extremely motivated situation. What I like to do is go to magistrate court and see the current dispos that are happening. And you can do some online. Sometimes you have to go in person.
When you're saying dispos, you mean evictions?
Evictions. So it's dispossessories. And sometimes you'll even get the paper that they filled out, scanned, with their actual phone number. So we'll call them. And I'd say 1 out of 5 is really willing to do this. Be honest, for who's landlords in here? Just curious. Every time that I go through an eviction, I'm ready to give that property away sometime. I know how it is, right? And also we call our tenants clients, by the way. There's just verbiage changes that I like to make sure that we do. But so I'd say tired landlords by doing the eviction leads. Secondly is doing networking events, building that rapport. And also personal branding. I'm a shy guy. I don't think you guys understand how difficult it is for me to stand up or sit up here and do this. But 2-3 years ago, I had been ignoring all my other mentors, and they said, Shane, if you don't do personal branding, you're going to get missed out. You don't know what you're missing out on. So I started doing social media, like, podcast, Instagram, and just now we hold conferences. We just had a conference in February. We did 2 conferences at once. I'm in the film business too, so that's helping me with credibility and getting those rooms. But that'll actually now, especially in small towns, if everyone in Knoxville knows that you're the guy that, is a buyer, they're going to bring you deals. And think about it. Landlords are the people willing to take monthly payments for their home. If they won't sell or finance it to you, maybe they'll lease it with an option to buy later. So that's how I'd say do it. Yes, sir.
No, that's a great question. Trav, you have a question?
Mine was actually on the finding that buyer.
Oh, great.
So what I do, like I said, when we teach, this is what we teach. I always say you always need to build a tenant buyer list and find deals. So what I would do, and you guys can try this, when you go home, take pictures inside of your home or apartment and make it look real nice and list it on Facebook Marketplace and just put available, July 1st, open to lease option, and people will start writing you. And what you want to do, imagine this, you're about to go look at a bunch of deals that you are potentially going to go look at, but then you have a list of people asking you, what is this lease option or what is this lease purchase all about? And you're building a list of people that have a budget, like, hey, I want a $300,000 home, $500,000 home, whatever. And also, you know what they can do monthly and you know what they can pay down. So if I know that Justin has 50 down, can do $2,000 a month, and he wants a $200,000 home, and now I go to look at a home and they're wanting 30 grand down, but I know he has 50. I believe it or not, when I first started, I would not close on a deal unless I had the tenant buyer lined up. I refused. I'd actually call the seller and extend it or cancel it because I'm the master of canceling contract. That's one thing I learned. Oh, well, what I do tell, I said, well, that one happens to be occupied at the moment.
Okay, let's talk lease options. So I don't know how much we want to go into details on this because we could really nerd out. Do we want to talk strategy? Do we want to get lost in the weeds? I think that Shane's got a lot of information, and I think if you've got specific questions on, hey, can you talk me through like a lease option contract, or how do I go? I'm doing owner financing. Are you recording the mortgage? How do you record them as a lost payee? I think we can handle that offline. What do y'all think? Yeah. And talk a little bit more about how do we scale up and get 400 properties and talk about some negotiation.
I was about to say the reason. So it took me 5 years to get my first deal. January of 2017 is when I bought that house with my buddy. We sold in August. I didn't get my first house, that deal that I was talking about, my first one, under contract in August. From August to December, I got 60 homes, then 180 the next year. I got obsessed. Every night, I'd be building a tenant buyer list. And I'd be sourcing deals, and I'd be trying to find every landlord I could. The thing is you can go one home at a time, or if you find the perfect landlord, he may have multiple. What changed my life, and I'm sorry, this is strategic. This has strategy. It may not sound like it, but it does. Is I went to Albany, Georgia, where my family's from, and I went to Little Caesars Pizza. And us as real estate investors, we notice every for sale by owner sign. I know we're like, it's a squirrel to us. Like, we're like, boom. And I got the number, called the gentleman, and it was an older gentleman. He's 81 years old. And he said, what are you living in Atlanta and over here looking at my property? And I said, sir, we buy all over the state of Georgia. I'm trying to make myself credible. And I tried to do the seller financing with him. He said no. I went to see him in person. I found out he had 2 homes free and clear. Tried to do seller financing. He said no. And I found out why. I found out later on that you need to find out the motivations first. What it was is he was going through a legal thing and he needed 188 grand. Now this is Albany, Georgia prices, okay, not California price or anything like that. These are $100,000 homes. And I said, and this was the first loan I ever got. So I mixed it with traditional and creative. As I started speaking to him, by the way, I said, he had 92 homes, not 2. I said, how about this? I'll buy these 2 traditionally so you can get 188 grand or whatever it was that he needed to pay his legal fees. It means when I close 100 and 100, he'll take 200 grand. I had to pay $40,000 down to get my first ever loan. So I learned that. I said, if I buy that, can that be the down payment? Will you seller finance me the other 90? And he said, yes. And that was my first. So I learned not to go after one at a time, to go with people that have multiple. So that's, you've heard of single family, you've heard of portfolio. Then the third thing happened is Grant Cardone on YouTube said, stay out of single family. That's, everyone knows Grant, I feel. He said, do multi. So I said, well, I can't do multi. I'm a single family. I've only done small loans, right? And he said, just be around it. So I looked on LoopNet, where you guys know deals go to die. They're the worst deals. I went, and funny enough, when I went to look at this 44-unit apartment complex, do you mind if I check something? Oh, there's the 92. Yep. Oh, yeah, and I lease optioned that, by the way. So as you can see, I paid $40,000 down. I wanted my 40 grand back, so I took 33 of them that were in pretty tough condition, and I found some subcontractors. And I said, look, if you're going to pay 20% down on these homes, you'd have to pay $600,000, $500,000, $600,000 down to buy all these. Just pay me $150,000. I'll let you put all your other capital into repairing the properties, and you can cash me out later. I wanted a 1031 later, and I also wanted my 40 grand back. And that's what they did. They paid me $150,000. I still own 60. And I master leased the whole portfolio to other investors. I don't want to go through this, but I think I have my apartments here. Here's the apartments. I bought them with 0 down, 44 units behind a Chick-fil-A and a Starbucks. And what it took was me to just walk the property. And as this guy, the seller, he started saying all the same motivation that all the other single family owners would say. They don't want the day-to-day. His older brother was managing the property and passed out behind the apartments for like 4 hours without anyone seeing him. So they just wanted him to it's not as passive as they thought. So if I upgrade them from landlord to banker, it turns from a semi-passive or active investment to them to a completely passive one. So single family is good. Buying portfolios of single is good. But apartments are to me, is even better. I thought I had a picture of it. Okay, sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. All right. Any question real quick? I'm so sorry. And then
Anybody? We just talked about buying 135 units. I got questions. Yeah.
Okay, say that.
So the question is, are you able to get the seller to carry a note with no payments and then buy the note later at a discount?
I've never tried. Actually. So here's one thing that goes with negotiate. Even if I sell or finance a property, I'm going back to that seller over and over and over again during that time and asking them especially if I'm going to cash out refi, I asked them for a discount. If y'all don't mind me sharing one that I'm fighting right now, and Elijah knows, is I wanted to try this on a big home. So I found a home. They wanted like 8 or 9 million on West Paces Ferry. Right? I don't know if you guys are familiar with Atlanta. I got them down to $7 million, no money down, principal only payments on 50% of it, and the rest would go toward, like his taxes and insurance. And I was like, man, so then we got in the home. Here we are on a 15,000 square foot. I loved Batman. I wanted a Bruce Wayne looking home. And I said, well, I'm going to be able to make money on it. What I'm doing now is changing the terms. And he just dropped this week from $7 to $6,150,000. And then I said, well, if I'm going to cash you out like in this time before the 5-year balloon that I have, will you be willing to go less? And he's willing. So I do constantly go back. I've never gone and said, can I buy that note back from you? But that's a good idea. But yes, I do ask for a discount later.
What's the exit on this one?
All right. So it appraised, funny enough, last year, because we got it in October of 2024, appraised last year for 12.1. They did it again because we were thinking about going and cash out refinancing it or doing something. It appraised at 13. So I'm either going to sell it and just 1031 it, or the second thing that I would do is I thought about lease option it. The Rock literally just rented a house 0.3 miles from our home for 60 grand a month. I'm paying 20 grand, to be quite honest. I was like, man, and my house is bigger. So I was like, maybe I could rent it for 50 and give someone a discount. Or if I did lease option, I could lease option it for maybe 10 million. That way the tenant buyer that comes in can have 2 to 3 million of equity. I get to make my 2 to 3 million. That's what I was thinking. Yes, sir.
Yes, Steve.
Yes, sir.
The
If you come
question
see
is
me-
real fast, just for the folks at home is, hey, I understand, seller financing, especially at a lower price point, the motivations that might make someone do that, but walk me through the mindset of a seller who is for a $6-7 million deal, letting you into a $12 million house with no money out of pocket, because to Steve, that seems insane.
Okay. Yeah. So it actually was even worse with this situation. It started off really rough. And I'll tell you why. It's because this house happened to have an agent involved too. I love agents. Okay. It's like attorneys. They say, oh, you hate attorneys. No, you hate them till you need them. Right. And I like attorneys. I like agents. But in this case, when you're doing seller finance, that agent, some of them are like, I've been doing this 30 years. But really, they've only been doing it 1 year and repeated the same step for 30 years. And they really don't know. He mixed up all my terms too. And he wouldn't let me talk to the seller. So what I did is I wrote a letter, and I'll show it to you if you want afterwards. Me and you will talk. I wrote a letter and gave it with a contract, and he had to give it to the seller. And I didn't say anything in there like, I want to talk to you, but I worded it in a way that the seller wanted and requested to speak to me. So then I got on the phone with him. And I have this thing that I tell my team is we do a bring to reality moment. And my thing was this. This is what I said. I said, sir, you have a beautiful home. It is your job and your agent's job to get the highest price possible and mine to get the lowest. But I want to go further and explain what I'm going through. And this is the truth. What it was is I had also seller financed a penthouse in Atlanta, and I was going to sell it. But condos, as you know, they take a long time to sell. I didn't expect it to sell quick. And I was getting married that November, like at that time. And I said, it's not your fault or my fault, but interest rates are ridiculously high. I also am in the middle of a large refinance on a multifamily property. And I got to be mindful of liquidity. And I don't want to show any crazy loans, especially a $7 million loan on my Social Security number. It could hurt my chances to do the refi that I need on my business. What was I doing there? Is I was showing that I'm sophisticated. You're not dealing with a normal Joe. I'm doing big deals, and I can speak the language. That's basically what I was trying to show him. But also, I was telling him interest rates are high. I'm letting him see that there's pressure. Then I wanted to find out his motivations. So he had bought the home in 2008 for $7 million at a 2% interest rate. And that ballooned 10 years. Somehow he got a 10-year like interest rate, fixed rate for 10 years. And it ended, and he's had a tenant in there. The guy was a friend of his, but did something with drugs or something. And anyway, this house has been vacant. And and it's in West Paces, so he doesn't want it to be empty, And we're in Atlanta. Let's just be honest. This Atlanta is a little dangerous, right? But Buckhead's okay, but like, it's still a little dangerous, and he just didn't want it empty. So as I started speaking to him, I said, look, I'm about to get married in November. We are going to come into this home. It's a beautiful home for us to raise our family. I'm letting him visualize it with me. But I understand that my personal situation, if you do this with me, I'm putting it on you too, and I hate it that we're going to have. I kind of kept talking to him this way, and that's what he agreed to, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
So I think
I'll show you the letter.
The lesson here, and this is the same, is like people want to do business with people that have experience, right? And credibility and a track record. We talk about this a lot on the agent side. It's not as funny I'm saying this because of how I'm attired today, but we talk about dress to impress, being something important. And in the sales industry, when I'm working in the sales industry, and like, why does that matter? I can tell you from personal experience, there was a period in my time, I had been a roofer, and when the hailstorm was here, and then hailstorm had ended, that roofing company had left. I was the only guy from here. So I was running all of the warranty stuff, and I'd gone back into real estate because I wasn't doing roofing anymore. I didn't want to travel anymore. I wanted to be around my daughter full time. So I went back into real estate. And what I found was fascinating was people responded to me entirely based upon how I was attired. If I showed up and I was in my dress clothes and I went and looked at your roof, same information, I knew my stuff cold, you did not have a level of confidence that I can get on a roof and fix it. If I showed up and I threw on my USA Today, my USA hat, nobody knew I was a Mexican unless I told them. and he got out there and, wearing jeans and a polo, radically different response, right? Because we're all conditioned to expect things that are normal or to be comfortable with people that look like us and act like us. And I think don't discount that. Like, the more credibility you have, the more people, right, are comfortable with you. And frankly, you probably know this, Shane, when I've done this a lot of times, there's just a level of innate confidence. I see this on us. I got to watch Cory here over the last 7 years of oh, okay, when we started this, Cory had 2 properties. We started this investor meetup. Same guy, but watching the portfolio grow and getting hundreds of at-bats, you just move differently when you go in that room. So I think that's a great, I'm glad you asked that question. And thanks for the framing of it. That kind of makes sense to me. If you told me all that, I'd go, okay, great. Yeah. I would, to be fair, Steve, you're a lender. I would do terms with you that I wouldn't do with other people because I know you have enough going on. You're much more likely to be able to make me whole versus taking a shot on somebody hey, I really want to give you a shot, Cory. But if this goes sideways, you don't have how are you going to make this up to me?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. To both of your points though, right? What a lot of that can come from is just having, as you mentioned, hundreds of conversations with people that gives you a skill set and confidence that you otherwise are just not going to have. Again, you can watch YouTube till you're just kind of blue in the face, but to that point, the reality sets in once you really start having conversations with people, and that becomes a real difference maker.
I like your panda, by the way. Your watch. Huh? I thought from here, is it not? Huh?
Rolex.
Oh, Panda, the white face Daytona? Huh?
Yeah,
Oh, Yacht Master. Oh, okay. Well, it's a beautiful watch either way.
So, fantastic. So, walk me through, you went into multifamily, and this was the deal that really intrigued us because I just look at, this is the same strategy we use in real estate, is why I interview on Tactical Tuesday. I was like, if there's somebody that's doing something that is working for hundreds of sales, it will work for us when we're trying to sell 10 houses. And I just immediately went to, we're going to go rip off and duplicate what they're doing on those sales machines at a smaller level, and the same thing on the investing side. So when I've seen you do all the transactions you have, walk us through the switch into multifamily. What was the biggest surprise there, I would say?
Okay, the biggest good surprise would be that it has forced appreciation. So it's the appraisal is based upon the number, the amount of money that it brings in, the income, and single family kind of goes with the market depending on how things are going. But again, the reason I even got into it is because I saw a Grant Cardone video that says even if you feel like you can't do it, be around it, and you need to do multi. That's what he said. So that's why I went to go look at that first 44 units that he just passed there, and I think it's a lot easier. And one mistake that I believe that I've made is I stayed in single family, in my opinion, too long. I want you to think of this. We really literally hit right at 400, and now we're starting to sell them off. Has 400 tax parcels, 400 insurance policies, 400 roofs. But if I have one 44 unit, which is 3 buildings, but it's still one parcel, one insurance policy. It's all in the same area. It's so much, in my opinion, better and easier. It's just single family, you make money right away. Even if I brag on the 44 unit though, one thing that I did learn about it is you really don't make money till after 2-3 years because you're putting it back in, especially the one I bought with value add. But, and also people called me a dodo for buying that because it probably wasn't worth no more than 1.9 million in the condition it was in.
And you paid 2.5.
And I overpaid. Yes.
Yeah. What was the interest rate on that?
That was a 6% interest only.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's when we get into cap rates. That's when we get into, sometimes, the price is less important than the total cost of ownership.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So yeah, I think it's and the only now why would these people sell me this apartment again is the motivations that they didn't want the day to day, but also I asked them why are they selling and what are they going to do with the money once they do sell. I knew they wasn't going to do a 1031, so they're going to get a tax hit. They hold it. They've owned it more than 30 something years, so it is already depreciated out. And I said, I let them see that they have a problem. I said, will you ask your CPA, how much are you going to have to pay in taxes? It was rough. I don't know the exact number. It was like 32, 33% in depreciation recapture, which is like, I think it's like 750-ish something thousand back. And I said, okay, so 2.5 million if I buy it, you're going to pay 700 something thousand in taxes. Then what are you going to do with the money? So we're going to take that money and put it in this fund that we found. We won't make any income for 2 years. And then we're going to get paid 6% interest only on the money that we put in. And I said, well, can I give you an alternative? How about I pay you 6% interest only on the full 2.5 million? Let's talk to your CPA about when the recapture hits and stuff. And they did. And also, instead of it being in a fund and you have to wait 2 years, you get paid next month. And if I die or I don't fulfill, you get a property back in better condition. And it's at least an asset that it's something you're familiar with. And that's what helped me get it.
You did value add, and then, forced appreciation comes through, and I can increase rents. And commercial property, my price is based off of the revenue, amongst other things. Sometimes it's fixtures, there's other elements to the appraisal, but generally speaking, if I increase my revenue, I increase the value of my property. So when you bought it at 2.5, what'd you put into it? And then what was the valuation? Like, walk us through the increase from the repairs and then for the revenue.
The rents were at 18-ish thousand a month. I'm paying 12.5. And for those that are familiar really well with this, that's technically break even or probably a little in the negative, just to be quite honest. They had no leases. Their single bedrooms were $325 a month. Their two bedrooms were $450 or $475, something like that, ridiculous. Market rents were $900 to like $1,100. What we did is we didn't want to scare everyone off, but so we didn't, and also the property was not in the best condition. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like the best condition. So we did raise rents because there were no leases. So it took us, in Georgia, 60 days. How long is it here to give notice to a tenant?
30.
Oh, Georgia is 60. So 60 days later, we raised it to 28 grand. They're still below market rent, right? But that increased appreciation, right? And then what I did is I did asset-based lending, and I got 44 brand new air conditioning units. If you come see me afterwards, I'll show you the bathrooms. We did full guts on all the bathrooms, tubs, toilets, vanities, everything for $1,500, labor and material included, by the way, because we gave people at mass. I also got, and don't ever do this, is a big mistake on my part, but the tenants are happy, but it's dumb on me, is I put granite countertops in a C property and all 44 units. And I got bulk discount on that. We paid $900 for each kitchen for granite, which is a good deal, but still, you shouldn't do that. And then the roof was already new because of a storm the year before. Actually, I do have a good breakdown, by the way, in a moment for forced appreciation for those that want to see. But I'll put it this way. I got a contract today on it for $5.7 million, and we bought it about 3-4 years ago. So I think forced appreciation is real powerful. Do you mind if I borrow that while you're about to speak? Go ahead.
No, and I think the biggest lesson here for doing creative.
I have no idea. I just got it today. I don't know what they're I think they're trying to buy it at a 6 cap or something. I don't know. I just got 5.7 and just got it from them today. When I bought it, I don't know. I'll have to get my NOI and look at it and see. I just haven't calculated. I just was going to buy and hold it forever. I just wasn't looking at what cap rate I'm at. But no, sir. And also, I will say this though. So, and I don't have this slide here, but I think that entrepreneurs make business plans. I don't think investors make good investment plans. And there's like 3 different phases in my opinion. Number 1, you live off active income. You work hard. You make money and you live. Then the investor thinks it's great because they have passive investments that pay them rent or dividends and they live off of that and they think that's great. All the billionaires don't do that. They live off debt till they die. That's the 3rd phase. And they're buying stuff. I bought a farm in Costa Rica and Bill Gates bought the one next to me at a 2 cap. I just don't understand that. And I'm like, why are they doing that? But what it is actually this. This is a ridiculous cap rate. Sorry.
Well, one of the things we're not thinking about is we focus a lot on cap rate taxes. taxes, I think, crush cap rate. And we talk about cap rate all the time, but that person was willing, that person before. The other thing about this is every good deal involves someone on the other side thinking radically different than me. That person was going to go take a $750K tax hit and then put their money in a fund for 2 years with no return and then get 6%. Anybody chomping at the bit for that deal? Because I got a bunch of projects. If you want to give me money, I can go get you wherever you want nationally. I can go get that money taken care of. Don't worry about it. And I'm not even a fund manager, but I can go find a place for it. So I would just say, like, when I'm looking at these buyer things, sometimes the motivation is radically different. And I think it's so much of this is when you have different problems when you get to these very high amounts, which is just like, how do I deploy the capital? It's challenging to deploy large amounts of capital sometimes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so let's talk about cap rate or forced appreciation.
For those that don't know about cap, here's just a real basic example. Let's just
what is cap rate? It gets thrown around a lot, and I often hear it, and it's not cap rate.
Basically, it's actually right here. So on $1 million, a 15 cap, if there's no loan, no debt, it's $150,000 a year. That's the NOI after expenses and everything, right? So let's use an example here. Let's say that there's 3 brothers. They each have $1 million cash. They each find $1 million property for $1 million. One has it at a 15 cap. He's making $150,000 a year after all expenses. That's the full NOI. The second one has an 8 cap. That's $80,000 a year. The third person is making $30,000. I don't know where you're at, but I'd love to make $150,000 on my million, right? But here's the thing. Let's just say we have it under contract for $1 million, each brother, one at 15, one at 8, one at 3. They don't even own it yet. They don't own it. All we're going to do is increase the NOI. Means let's just say all we do is we contact another insurance broker and they say the previous seller had their insurance policy at $8,000 a year. We're going to give it to you for $6,000. You contact pest control, which is a big deal. They're like $700. We got it down to $200 for our 44 units. $200. Great. Trash. Instead of having a little trash can and they come twice a week to pick it up, we get one big container. They come once and it decreases from $800 to $400. Whatever the case, we save an extra $1,100 a month per brother, let's just say. So $15,000 a year. How the math does is if you take the additional $15,000 and divide it by the cap rate, here's what the appreciation is now worth on the NOI. I mean, on the value of the property, if it trades in that area. So if you have a high cap rate, you're making more money on the left side there, but the forced appreciation is lower on the right side. So you need to find out what exactly you're trying to accomplish. Are you trying to make more cash flow? Or are you trying to have your net worth spike up higher, which helps borrowing power and whatnot, right? What I would say too is, what's the difference between 15, 8, and 3? Okay, this is nothing offensive, but 15 cap means, like how I started, you got to take a gun, not to point at your tenant, but like it's just dangerous area, but more in the ghetto-ish, okay, of the areas. 6 to 8% is kind of middle class, working class there. And then 3 cap, which is ridiculous. I don't think you can sell something at 3 cap right now, but like 3 cap would be like Starbucks or some really good publicly traded company, absolute triple net. There's no landlord responsibilities, and it's just really, or an A++ asset. So that's the difference in that. Here you go, sir. All right.
So just to wrap up and great question. Thank you so much. What I was saying is the most important thing, I think, when we're talking about creative financing strategies are, you need to be a master negotiator. And if I'm really clear about what these clients want to do, all of these deals didn't make a ton of sense, but anybody else, when Shane explained them, I was like, okay, I see why you got that. That makes logical sense. You met their needs. That person that sold you that 44 for $2.5 million was making a rational decision. That was a better deal than they had available to them on the market. You provided a better solution. That's a win-win scenario.
Yes, sir. And also, like on the 92 doors or on this family, if they're 81 years old, why would they sell or finance? I also make sure they understand like the benefits of seller financing to me. So, for example, on the 92 homes, I told this gentleman, I said, "Here, I have a question. If you don't sell these, what's going to happen?" He said, "Well, I guess I'll just keep them." And I said, if you don't mind me asking, God forbid you were to pass away today, what would happen to the properties? In my experience, the family take it and liquidate it for dirt cheap and just everything you built, they squander it in a way. But what is your plan? And he said, I have 2 kids, Kate and Jimbo. He had 2 kids. And he said, I said, okay, and how many grandkids? He goes, I got 16 grandkids. I said, well, who's going to manage the properties for that? And he goes, well, my daughter is an event planner. My son's an agent in Florida, but he doesn't like rentals. So my grandkids may do something. And I said, well, if you don't mind me just telling you from my experience, again, if you, God forbid you pass, they're either going to sell them off for dirt cheap, or one of those kids is going to end up managing and doing more work than all the others and expect more, and it causes a lot of problems. Let me give you an alternative. What if I buy it, seller financing, God forbid you pass, and instead of them wondering how they're going to manage all these properties, they get a check written to them equally divided, and they think of you. That was the verbiage that I used, and I still use that today. So it goes back to negotiations.
And the number one source of distressed assets right now in the country is probate. That is the most consistent source of a distressed seller. I don't know if anyone else has worked with probate. I have worked with probate. I have seen this tear families apart. At the end of it, the sisters aren't talking. The whole family is not talking at the end of these deals sometimes. It does not. People are dealing with big financial decisions, going through a terrible moment of grief, with an asset that may be larger than they're used to dealing with, especially with inheritance. So, Cory,
for sure.
What questions do you have to take us out, man?
Yeah. Shane, I'm curious, as we've taken us on this journey into the level you're at now, but as you've scaled and grown, how have you systematized your deal flow in terms of assets that you're looking at, and what does your current team structure look like?
So before, when I was starting, I'd get any deal that I could. I was kind of being more like a machine gun. Now I feel like I'm getting in the phase where I'm being more like a sniper, and I'm trying to choose the assets that I want. It may be a little slower, but that's just, I want to get stuff that I want. I don't want any more single family, and that's what I'm mostly getting before, right?
Yeah.
I thought you was about to say something. And then as far as team-wise, I think it's tough. There's a saying that says business is actually super fun and easy if you didn't have to deal with staff and clients. And it's true, but what it is I don't want staff. I want partners is how I treat my team. And I tell them, I don't want you to be an employee. I want you to be a partner with me. Actually, that young boy that just gave my phone, this year has done 9 deals. He's 19 years old. And he only came to my little gatherings that we did, and I didn't know he was doing real estate until he started doing it. So you'll make sure to give him a good pat on the back. 19 years old. Isn't that amazing?
That's
awesome.
incredible.
Super cool.
Would anyone, I think, Shane, would you be willing to come and could we do a webinar?
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, I think that would be, I know some of you have some technical questions. We could really get into the weeds there. We can talk about contract term. We can get really into some of the specifics there. But I want to be respectful of folks' times, and I'll let Shane, do you have any final words for us?
I just want to say it's an honor to come out and nerd out with you guys. I mean, for you guys to come take a couple hours and nerd out about real estate, it's always just very exciting. And I drove, 4 hours to come nerd out with you guys. I love this. Again, Justin, Cory, I appreciate you guys having me. And you guys give them one more big round of applause just for doing this.
Cory, do you have any final words? Take us out.
Yeah. So just would love to see everybody here next month, June 11th, for a 5-year anniversary. We'd love to see each and every one of you there. Please bring a friend as well. We found that's the best opportunity. We look at that's one of our best events of the year. It's truly a spot where you get to meet your whole dream team. We're going to make sure we stack the room. We would love to see each and every one of you there, and also bring a friend to that.
Also, if any of you don't mind, we are trying to grab some testimonials. So if you've gotten anything out of here, if you wouldn't mind having a conversation with Dalton, right there, right? Dalton, by the way, Horizon Media Group. Dalton was with Horizon for years. Horizon has decided they want to focus more. So if you need some help with this on the ad placement, the ad servicing side, that's Rob's specialty that started that. And Dalton is now his own creative agency. Is it 74U? 7 for you? Thank you. Studio 770 for you, right? If you haven't seen Dalton's video work, he does NIL stuff for all the NIL stuff for UT. He's done that video. He's done some amazing videography. He went to school to be a filmmaker, and COVID changed him. I'm glad it happened because he ended up with us. But he is available if you have real estate photography needs. So if you are if you're an investor selling assets, you need great photos. Call Dalton. He will take great care of you. But I would appreciate, that's the one ask for you. If you got anything out of this, if you wouldn't mind saying, hey, here's what happened. This is what it was like when I came to Grid, and here's something I've learned or someone that I've met because of it. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Happy birthday, Cory. I love you, brother.
Thanks, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Shane.
it. Thanks, y'all, very much.
Hey, thank you, guys.